me a taxi. Hi there.
Hi.
I'm sorry, hi. I was just saying to my son to come to get his milk. Okay.
Evening, guys. How are you?
Evening.
Hi, Debbie.
Evening.
Hello.
Let me get my camera on. What am I doing? Great start is that any Zoom, you've always got a technical glitch, haven't you?
Oh, well, listen, 10 minutes ago, I had no internet. So
Do you know what? And I'm not going to lie as well. You can tell me if I'm lying, but I'm sure I saw you dancing then on the.
I was,
on the
yeah. I thought, is this? I thought, yeah, I didn't know whether that was expected or not. So you get an extra
So
treat.
let's have a look. What's happened here? Have I someone muted everyone for some reason? No. Can everybody speak? Can I hear everyone? Rachel, are you there?
Hello.
Rachel?
Hello. Hello.
Can't hear for some reason.
I can hear her.
Oh, can you? I can hear you, baby. Speak again, Rachel.
Hello.
Oh, you're here now. I must have a slight delay for some reason. That'll be fun, won't it?
Oh no. Oh
So
no.
thanks for joining us, Debbie.
You're welcome.
We'll get you on at about 1:45, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
The thing, I like the sound of my own voice, so start rambling on when we get going. That's not true, I promise you.
I think that's a northern trait. So
It probably is. Where are you
God
from?
help us.
Debbie?
Me, I'm from Knutsford originally.
Yeah, nice. Know it well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the call at the minute. What we do with the sessions is we record the sessions and we send them out to all the guys as well. So anyone who doesn't jump on, they'll for sure be hearing about, British Friendly and what they're all about. And the idea for me is that once you've finished, I'm going to jump on and kind of go into a little bit more depth with income protection and really kind of mirror the back of what you're saying, but put it into more of a quoting perspective and how to kind of build it around clients and tailor it to their circumstances as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Obviously, you're welcome to stay on for as long as possible. But I do understand, you've got your own commitments, so you can run off whenever
all right.
you
My
want.
husband's away tonight, so
Is he?
yes.
Great. So let's get going then. So
It's me and the dog.
oh bless. What dog have you got?
A cockapoo.
Oh, do you know everyone says that at the moment? They must be in trend. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, very popular.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I did send you this on email, didn't I? The Sharpen Your Saw Advisor event. And what were your words?
No pressure, and I am a Leo, so
that was it.
I'm quite happy.
I'm sure you're excited now because you'd received it as well.
It's working.
Right, we've got Lizzie coming on as well. Just let Lizzie into the chat. Before we actually get going, I want to say welcome to the team. We've got a new advisor joining this week, Anthony Curtis, also known as AJ, prefers AJ. No doubt he'll be watching the video back. He's got his work commitments at the moment, but he'll be coming over hopefully in the next probably 5-6 weeks. So he's already starting his training, his applications into Primus. So he'll be mirroring all the other advisors in, looking to get appointed ASAP. And he'll be reaching out to everyone, I'm sure, to kind of get some guidance from you, because I'm sure a few of you on the call here are kind of well in front of where AJ is, as I say, new to the industry, recently done his CMAT 1. So congratulations on that. And his mindset is to get into mortgages. And we've encouraged him to start with protection, become a protection advisor that does mortgages. Don't do mortgages and think you want to add a bit of protection on, because it never works. You've got to know your providers. You've got to know your USPs. You've got to know the benefits and features of the plans. So as I said to all you guys on the call tonight, keep swatting up, keep using our Facebook group, keep reaching out to the likes of Debbie and the BDMs, and of course, correspond with each other and reach out to each other to support each other. And if you find something out that you like, stick it on the WhatsApp chat, because everyone's going to benefit from that as well then, and they can all ask each other questions. So I'd appreciate that. So thank you in advance. We always start with a quote. This week I have got mindset is everything. This is one of my favorite images. For me, you know, like a lion, I know that's a tiger, but at the same time, I'm very much a cat person. So I've always liked this image, but I'm a big believer, you know, that mindset is everything. You know, you choose your destination with regards to how successful you want to be within the protection or mortgage world. And for me, you can choose whether you want to be a top advisor, a top performer within Primus in the financial services industry. You can choose to be in a 501 club with Primus and, you know, earn well. Or alternatively, you can say, you know, I don't want the added pressure of, you know, trying to hit high numbers. I'm quite happily, you know, doing a more professional job for my clients, slowing it down and having the mindset that less is more. But again, mindset is everything. And for me, it comes down to attitude. You know, when you actually set your goals and you have your own mindset to what you want to achieve, what I'd encourage you to do is to firstly write it down, because if you write it down, it'll happen. And also tell people, have some accountability for what your targets are going to be for you personally, for yourself, whether that's week to week, month to month, or over a quarter, or even the year. Because once you put it out there, your back really is against the wall. And then, of course, you need to encourage yourself day in, day out. You need to go, you know, telling people what it's going to be doing, but also you've got to tell yourself more than anything that you're going to, you know, get out of bed and you're going to make something of yourself in this career and this industry. And I believe there's a really good way of doing that. And if you don't know what affirmations are, then after today's session, get on Google, look at what affirmations are in detail, and get yourself a few little cardboard cutouts to do and write about 4, 5, 6 affirmations down for yourself. And you can change these as time goes on. But what an affirmation is briefly, it's telling yourself that you're already there. So you can say, I'm a 501 advisor. I am a 501 advisor with Primus. I am the best in my industry. I am the most successful when it comes to arranging British friendly policies. You can say whatever you want and you have to believe it. And it's the central law of attraction. You know, you see it, you believe it, and you receive it. And again, it's all about mindset. So I encourage that. There's a lot of good audio books out there to help you with mindset. If you want some of them recommended by me, reach out to me on the WhatsApp group, give me a call or email, and I'll recommend them to you. But as I say, all down to attitude, all down to mindset. Hopefully you like the image this week. And if you've got any feedback on that one, yeah, put it in the chat on the call tonight, and we'll announce it at the end in regards to kind of that quote. So we want to jump onto the 7-step process with Fortune Financial. So it's the sales process. And for me, I feel like it's really organized to have structure, have a real understanding of how you're going to work, but also break it down into certain segments so that when you're starting by finding customers or dealing with customers or closing sales, you're aware of what you're doing at each stage and you're making it your own. And I think that's really important. As an advisor, you're going to have your own way of working. But at the same time, you need to follow a certain process, and it's a proven process to make sure that you are successful. So just going to run through these briefly. So actually, I'm going to pick on a few people actually as well. So let's have a look who we've got on the call. Agota, are you there? So get Agota to unmute herself.
I am here, but my husband is running late, so I've got Pepper in the background. Apologies about that. So might hear my son as well. Sorry about that. Yes, carry on. I don't know if this will work at the minute. I'll let you know once my husband is at home. Sorry about this.
Oh, you're totally fine. All I was saying to you is that step 1, it says, you know, make contact and build rapport. You know, how gives an example of what you can do there, but I mean, how can you contact clients? How can you build rapport with people to discuss, you know, your services?
Yeah, are you asking me? My plan is once
I'm putting you on the spot.
I can beat my drums of my own drums of saying to people, look, I'm in a mortgage and protection advisor for Fortune Financial. I will start writing every platform under the sun. That's my sort of plan. I will beat my own drums as much as I can do, because thankfully I haven't got many people in my professional network, but I have got some. So I will try to sort of first and foremost go and try to expand on those ones, as well as all my friends and family who I can think of. I will try to sort of look at their cases, because every single one of them is either up for renewal on their mortgage or their mortgage deal, or something is always going on somewhere. So yeah, this is what I will try to do. I'm just waiting to be signed off.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that input. That's really good. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I've muted you there. I didn't mean to do that. I'll ask to unmute. Not sure if a goat is still sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there you are.
I'm sorry about the back noises. We've got all sorts of pepper in the background, as well as my little boy. Sorry about this, but yeah, that was what I was going to say, Mark.
No need at all. No, thank you. That's exactly right, Agota. And what I would build on top of that is to say, it's really important when you're building rapport with clients and you're making contact with people, that you understand what your area of expertise is and where you want to kind of personal brand yourself, because people need to be able to relate to you. So as an advisor, whether you want to put yourself into the self-employment world, or you could put yourself into the world of tradesmen and women, or you could go for medical professionals, or you could go for sports people. By having an awareness and a brand, people will look at you and think, you know, that's a bit of me. That's something I need to speak to you about. So it really paints a picture, and it enables you to build a rapport with people. And building a rapport, of course, it's, you know, finding about them, finding about the family, finding about the hobbies and interests. And when you do that, clients will become clients rather than customers. So I feel that's really important. Number two, it says qualify compatibility. With regards to, you know, qualifying your clients, it's finding out, coming on to three as well, you know, what their need is. And with regards to everyone's needs, I'm a believer that all clients have a need, but all clients' circumstances are different. So the fact-finding process for you in finding out, you know, whether they are family people, again, what the hobbies and interests are, have they got children? And of course, the style of work they do, whether it's employment, self-employment, it's really going to help you build that compatibility and qualify your clients. So you know, again, coming on to three, that you can analyze your prospects' needs and find out which products from a protection perspective are going to be right for them. So if somebody was sat down with you, for example, and they said they're self-employed, straight away, you're going to think British friendly, income protection, you know, because a self-employed person, it's very likely that if they're not working, they're not earning. So it should be a light bulb in your head. And again, with experience and knowledge and the time you were doing this, you'll find that when somebody mentions the children, you know they need children's critical illness cover. When somebody mentions the self-employed, they need income protection. When somebody says they're employed, they potentially need income protection. It depends on, of course, their employer benefit and how long that lasts for. But again, it's creating light bulb moments in your head. And how you will do that is through knowing your providers, knowing the products and the USPs of them. I know I sent them out today on email to everybody. Have a good look through them and then jump on the advisor websites and, you know, go into a bit more detail with them USPs and see how they're going to benefit your customers. So number four, within the sales process, of course, pitch your products. You can't do that without knowing your stuff. So it's really important to SWOT up, get on these sessions, speak to Debbie, speak to the other BDMs, and allocate time, structured time in your working week, whether it's Monday mornings, 10 till 11, Thursday afternoons, 3 till 4, whatever it is, regiment it, have it in your diary, that's when you're going to sharpen your saw. That's when you're going to improve yourself. And, you know, you're going to really sit down with a client and make them understand that you're the person to deal with, because you're going to do a proper job and you're really going to kind of, you know, do over and above their expectations in making sure they're protected in the right way. Can see Lizzie's on the call. Hi, Lizzie.
Hiya.
Number 5 within the sales process, easy one for you. Deliver proposal. What we're referring to?
The actual quote itself. To
Absolutely.
the customer.
Yeah. So it's passing the quote over to the client in the right way. So of course we use illustrations, we use key features, but your advice is what matters. And some people will want to know the ins and outs, and some people will quite happily sit down with you for an hour and a half and talk about the ins and outs. But you'll probably find that 80% of your clients want to know the USPs and want to see that you know your stuff and it's right for them, but trust you that it's right for them. You can confuse people. You can give them too much information. So you need to know your stuff, but you also need to know how to deliver it as well to your customers, because with all due respect, we don't want to bore people. We're talking about protection. We're talking about people getting ill. We're talking about people being off work with an accident. God forbid somebody passing away and dying and leaving the family with financial problems. They don't want to sit there for hours these days. So it's really important to deliver your proposal and do it in a confident way. And again, I'm coming back to providers, the reason for these sessions, the reason for Debbie here tonight. It's with a confidence that'll come when you have your product knowledge, and then your clients will buy from you all day long. You won't have to sell them anything ever again, because you'll build that trust with your customers. Glenn, are you on the call, Glenn?
I am indeed. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Super. I'm going to throw number 6 at you. Negotiate. What do we mean by negotiate?
Well, when you've delivered your proposal, you're going to start off with a ski slope, aren't you? So you're going to start off with a high figure. And if that figure doesn't quite meet your client's expectations, you're going to negotiate. You're going to take things off. Well, they might want to add on. You don't know, do you?
Brilliant. So can I ask you a question on that then?
Yeah.
You said we're going to ski slope. Why would you start at the top?
Because that's the best of the best, isn't it? That's what you think's best for your client.
Absolutely.
But then they might not want, in that moment of time, they might not feel that's best for them.
For sure. Yeah. No, just jumping on the back of that, you're exactly right. I'm a big believer that you're an advisor. Give them the best, give them the quality. Sometimes don't work to an affordability measure. Don't know, it needs to be affordable for the clients to pay month in, month out. But if they've got an expectation of paying 25 quid a month, that doesn't mean you can meet the need for 25 quid. So sometimes to go back and say, I know you said 25, but you're going to have to pay at least a tenner a week, because we need to make sure that it's going to do the right job for you. It's going to cover your mortgage, protect your income, give you some family protection, make sure your kids are done. And I'm not the kind of advisor that's going to do half a job. I'm going to be here to make sure that I give you the best quality service. I give you the most comprehensive proposition by means of not just the most cost effective, but quality as well. And again, negotiating, as Glenn said there, if they say, well, do you know what, it's just unaffordable, that it's not right for me, then absolutely you can pull it back. But never pull back on quality. Pull back on level of cover. I'm a big believer of. So, for example, you can enhance critical illness plans. Never unenhance a critical illness policy, I believe. I may be wrong. But you could always, instead of giving a client £100,000 worth of cover enhanced, you could give them 80 enhanced, rather than giving 100 that's less of a quality. I believe it's better to have more conditions, more advanced plans, better benefits. And again, start at the top, as Glenn said, and you can always ski downhill. So number 7, close the sale. Barry, are you on the call tonight? Barry's always having his tea, isn't he? I'll jump in for Barry. So close the sale. Listen, you've got to close it with confidence and a passion. And I always say a little bit of a fire in your belly. And listen, people will respect you for believing in what you do. And if you don't believe in what you do, you'll betray that all day long. So care about what you do. Have a real understanding that this isn't an insurance in case. It's an insurance that is required because it happens. It happens a lot. Do you know, 1 in 2 of us will get cancer. The chances of being off work for accidents and sickness, I'm sure Debbie can answer that, are ridiculously high in comparison to getting critical illnesses or even passing away. So closing the sale, when you're looking at a priority, what's your priority? Is it your income? I think it may well be, and we're going to come on to that tonight. So I'm going to pass you over. I've got Debbie from British Friendly. Sorry, Debbie, I went a few minutes over there.
No, it's all right. It's okay. It's interesting, and I will refer back to it. So, how long have I got?
You've got as long as you want. Now, everyone might not agree with that because they might want to go to bed tonight.
Right. Okay.
How long do you want, Debbie?
What I want to do is give this a fair crack for you, because you're obviously very passionate about your income protection, and I believe I've got a really good story to tell. So now then, I don't use Zoom very often, but can you see my slide? And is there something that I need to press to do play or something?
Yeah, so I've just enhanced the sharing for you.
Yeah.
If you come to, I believe at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, and hover over, it'll open up and it'll say new share in the middle of the screen. Either the top or the bottom. Is there a green bar anywhere for you?
There is a green bar saying you are screen sharing.
Okay, well, it's me screen sharing, so let me stop that share.
Right.
Aha,
New share. There we go.
there you go. You're on.
Right. Ooh, okay. Bear with. Right. Can you see my slide?
You can indeed. If you go to slideshow in the middle at the top.
Can you see slide 2?
You can indeed. Yeah.
Right, good. Okay, right, brilliant. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I'll mute myself, Debbie. Thanks a lot.
Okay, day without learning. Right, so I'm Debbie. I have been with British Friendly for nearly 5 years. I am not your account manager. Your account manager is a lady called Georgia, but she is a yoga teacher in the evening. So I have stepped into the breach to present to you guys, but that doesn't mean that if you have any questions, you can't contact me. So because we've got there's only 4 of us, the account managers in the country. So if you do want me or need me, you can always reach out and ask for help. But Georgia St. Ledger is your account manager. The purpose of the session tonight really was to give you an introduction to British Friendly. And also I'm going to touch on quite a few ideas that will hopefully help you to present income protection to your clients and have a really good understanding of what the market currently is. So we'll look at identifying the need, we'll look at understanding the risk of not being insured, then we'll look at how British Friendly can help. And then I want to spend some time talking about the value added aspects of British Friendly, because this is something that we've invested a lot of money in, because we feel that it does make a massive difference, particularly to the type of client that we are most competitive for. Okay, so without further ado, let's have a look at what actually income protection does. Now, some people explain the need for income protection better with pictures, and so I've created this building block graphic here, which demonstrates to us that our income isn't just there to pay for mortgage or rent, it's there to pay for all the other stuff that you spend your money on. So you work hard, you earn an income, and then you enjoy yourself. So you spend money on holidays, having fun, the children's future, feeding yourselves, putting nice clothes on your family members, hobbies, all sorts of stuff. And that's what your income goes on. And we need to make sure that our customers appreciate how important that income is. It's the fundamental thing that we consider when we're creating the mortgage plan, because we will normally work on a multiple of income to check affordability. And so the affordability is key. So you can tag that affordability need to the mortgage, and also to bring it back to why you need income protection. Okay, if we haven't got income, what happens? Then obviously all your building blocks can topple down, and you're then faced with the difficult decision of which bills do I choose not to pay. Now, I know that I would rather be in a situation, going back to that diagram that you've just looked at with the 7 stages, I would much rather be in a position of deciding which policies or what plan I can afford to protect my family the best, rather than being in a situation where I've got to choose what not to pay. And the chances are that you probably want to pay your mortgage, and there might not be much else left to cover after that. So what's the solution? British Friendly Income Protection Plan, of course, to shore everything up, to make sure that all that stuff that you want to spend your money on is affordable, even if you're off sick and not working. Okay, now, as far as British Friendly are concerned, we are particularly competitive for your self-employed, manual tradespeople, people who are in care work, so nurses, care workers, beauticians, hairdressers, and then your manual trades, and quite a few unusual occupations that you might find difficult to place with your mainstream insurers. And when we talk about protection, mortgage protection, the perception by the majority of the public is that what's the worst thing that can happen is that you die. Well, yes, it is. It's grim if you die. There's no getting away from that. But what are the chances of you dying before retirement compared to the chances of you suffering an incapacity that keeps you off work? Okay, the reality is that you're much more likely to need income protection cover than you are to need death cover before you retire. And the other thing to think about as well is that if you die and you've got life cover, then you've actually created a lump sum element of wealth for the rest of the family. You're gone, it's very sad. But if you suffer an incapacity, you've not died, so you've not created that lump sum wealth for the family, but you also need looking after. So the need is much greater. You know, as far as income protection is concerned, it really is much more important than life cover in some aspects. And when we look at the likelihoods of being off sick, Swiss Re reckoned that you are 26 times more likely to need income protection before retirement age than you are death cover. And I know a lot of advisors like to use that statistic when people say, oh, well, I'm never ill. Well, I think the fact that we've seen so many people over the last 2 years affected by COVID, nobody expected to be affected by COVID, and I've got some claim stats for you later on. But we are ill. There are a lot of people ill, and in actual fact, 1 million people a year are off sick, that are off sick for more than 4 weeks. So typically people that could claim on an income protection policy. Okay. In terms of what the opportunity is for you as an advisor, we know that only 6% of the working population of the UK have got any form of income protection cover. So the chances are, because 94% of people haven't got it, that you are facing an individual who hasn't got cover and an opportunity for you to recommend it. Okay, so you know, those are the stats that show what the opportunity is for writing income protection. In terms of whether or not it's a good idea, Which magazine claimed that the one protection policy that every working adult in the UK should consider is the one that most of us don't have, and that's income protection. Now, if you're dealing with anybody who is single, income protection should be the priority, because they've only got themselves to keep the money coming in, and if they haven't got employee benefits, then income protection should be their absolute priority. Then once again, with families, obviously we go back to the the incapacity. What happens? Somebody else needs to look after you. It can be you know, a really bad scenario should you be off sick long term. In terms of what's happened over the last couple of years, I think the pandemic, if we can pull anything good out of the pandemic, it's that it's made us realise just how vulnerable we can be. And also the fact that so many people were reliant upon the furlough scheme, which meant that, you know, your employer didn't pay you, but somebody did, and you got 80% of your salary paid to you. And a lot of people have realised that, oh, crikey, if I hadn't have had that, then what would have happened? And so income protection is your own way of protecting your income should you be ill in the future. Bizarrely, we saw record numbers of house sales. So, you know, I know Prime has had record years over the last couple of years for mortgage sales, and so there is a greater need as we've gone through the pandemic. Okay, so in terms of British friendly, so I'm going to share with you our target market and our USPs. All right, so a bit about us. We've been around since 1902, so we've got quite a lot of experience. We are a friendly society, so we don't have any shareholders. We're owned by our members. And so we're absolutely committed to putting those members at the heart of everything that we do. So every decision that we make is considering what is right for our members. In terms of the relationship with you, we want to be as easy to do business with as possible, and we want to help you. So nothing should be too much trouble, really, if we are helping you to protect those families. Now, some key points that I want to just cover off with you to start with. Think about the type of clients that you've got. Have you got anybody who is in a manual trade? Have you got anybody who is in the care industry, nursing, that sort of thing? We don't have occupation classes. So going back to what I said about being easy to do business with, it's easy to figure out how much premiums are going to cost with British Friendly, because we don't have class 1, 2, 3 and 4 like some insurers do. Everybody pays the same premium. So that means that a solicitor and a scaffolder with us will pay the same premium, which naturally means a solicitor we're not going to be very competitive for, but for a scaffolder we are. Okay. We don't charge extra for smokers unless there is a comorbidity risk. And by that, I mean, you know, we will ask how many cigarettes you smoke. And if you're smoking 80 a day, then there is a comorbidity risk, because that is higher risk than normal. And so we would apply an individual load into a policy for somebody that was smoking excessive amounts of cigarettes. Or, for example, if they were an asthmatic and they were a smoker as well. So we would look at that. But generally speaking, smoker and non-smoker rates are the same. Cover is offered on an own occupation basis, which basically means it's the best you could wish for, and whatever job you are doing immediately before you go sick, if you're too ill to do that job, then we will pay you. All right, so that's peace of mind. It's giving you absolute peace of mind that you're going to get paid out, and there's as few get out clauses as you could wish for with that. We don't mind whether you're employed or self-employed, and there are also no restrictions to the hours that you work. So even if you're on a 0 hours contract, or you only do 5 hours a week, we will still insure your clients. We give our clients the option to have benefits paid either weekly or monthly, because we appreciate that, particularly with manual trades, they're used to receiving their wages weekly. And so we want to help continue that cash flow. So they've got the choice. The other area where that is really beneficial is if you are talking to somebody about what deferred period they want, then if you're on a 4-week deferred period and you're paid weekly, there's every chance you can get your money in week 5. We've got a chat message. Is that for me? Okay. It is interesting. It's good. Okay. So what that means is that after 5 weeks, you could, in theory, get paid. Whereas with another insurer, if you paid monthly, you've got to wait until week 9 before you receive your benefit on a 4-week deferred policy. So bear that in mind when you are making your recommendations, because it does make a big difference to cash flow at the time of a claim. In terms of mileage, we have no restrictions. So that naturally means that we are good for HGV drivers, taxi drivers, delivery drivers, sales reps doing more than 20,000 business. It doesn't matter with us. There is no restriction. And the last point on there is that we offer guaranteed age-banded premiums. So what that means is that our premium rates do go up as you get older, but I've got a graph to show you how it works, because I know some advisors are concerned that your premiums are going to shoot up in year 2. That's not necessarily the case with us, so I'll show you how they work in finer detail a bit further on. Okay, so the policies that we've got 2 plans. We've got one called Protect and we've got one called Breathing Space. So I'm going to go through the 2 different ones with you. The Protect one is your normal income protection policy that you would expect to see. So this is designed to replace income. It's set to a percentage of your taxable earnings, and you can either have your policy set up for a long-term basis, which means if you fall ill and you're never well enough to go back to work, then you can claim right up until your chosen retirement age, which can be anything between 50 and 70 with us. There are also options for the cheaper budget options, which are short-term income protection, and we offer the broadest range of those as well. So we'll allow you to choose from between 1, 2 or 5 year claim periods on the budget plans. So how much do we cover? We will cover up to 70% of pre-tax income, and so you'll find that that's the highest available throughout all individual income protection policies on the market. There are a couple of other insurers that will do 70%, but nobody does higher than that. The maximum cover that we currently offer is 45,500. Now, I will let you into a little secret. That is increasing around about the 1st of April. We haven't got confirmation of the date yet, but the maximum benefit cover will be increasing for you. In terms of deferred periods, on the long-term plan, we'll do everything from day 1 to 52. And if you've got somebody who may need a split deferred arrangement, so let's say, for example, they get 6 months full pay, 6 months half pay, then nothing, then we can dovetail the deferred period to fit in with what their needs are. On the short-term plan, we'll do 1 week deferred up to 52. Now, something I need to note on that is that there is currently a COVID exclusion on day 1 and week 1, but for 4 weeks and above, there is no COVID exclusion. Okay, right, so waiver of premium. We include waiver of premium free of charge on all of our policies. So as soon as somebody's claim starts to be paid, we then don't take any premiums from the customer until they either return to work or the claim stops. So we've got a question there: is the maximum the income protection or the benefit? So the maximum, the 45,500, is the benefit. So that's as a percentage of income. So salaries of 60,000 will generate an income of 45,500. Okay, but like I say, that's going up around about the 1st of April. So waiver of premiums automatically included. There's no limit on the number of times you can claim, so you can claim again and again and again for the same condition, and also for obviously different conditions. If you are looking to claim for the same condition, if you're on a short-term plan and you've expired the length of your short-term period, so let's say you've got a 1-year claim period and you've been off for a year, then you return to work, but then you suffer from the same condition later on, as long as you've had a 6-month period where you've made a full recovery in between, you can claim for that condition again. All right. Indexation is an option on our plans, and so that is applied at the outset, and if you don't wish to index your policy each year, you can decline it for 3 years, and then you lose the right to the indexation, but you can decline it and then take it the next year, and so on and so forth. The rate that we use is RPI, and we do offer flexibility with that, so that you can choose any level between 0 and RPI to increase. If your own salary hasn't increased by RPI, then you can match it. So we've got the flexibility within the plan to do that for you. And then the last point on there is premium holiday option. Now, this is something that's really important to remember, because it's unique to British Friendly, the way that we do it. And it basically means that if for any reason your client needs to suspend their cover, they can do for up to 2 years at a time. And during that period of time, they don't pay any premiums, they can't claim, but when they reinstate their cover, we don't do any further underwriting. So they are accepted at the same terms as they were originally on the policy, irrespective of what's happened to them medically. Okay, so premium holiday option, and it has been fabulous over the last 2 years, because anybody that was furloughed could go onto a premium holiday and not have to worry about paying the premiums, and then when they went back to work, started paying again. It can work for people who are off on maternity leave. It can work for people who just can't afford to pay the premiums for a bit. So if they want to suspend the policy for 3 months while they deal with a difficult time financially, they can do that, and then we can reinstate. So it's a very, very good feature of the plan. So make sure you're aware, you remember that. Okay, so that's the Protect plan. I'm going to move on to breathing space now. So this is something, and it's, I have to say, this is really, really popular with a lot of Primis advisors. Quite a few Primis advisors have cottoned onto this and they love it. So what is it? It's something that's a bit left field, and it was designed to replace income for people who are off sick, who might struggle to evidence their earnings. So with the Protect plan, as I said, it's 70%, and you've got to be able to prove your income at the time of a claim to get that 70% figure. Now, if you can't do that, or if you're going to struggle to do that, then breathing space is a really good alternative, because although you have to be earning something, it doesn't matter how much you are earning. So you could, in theory, just earn £100 a year, but you could still insure yourself for up to 15,000 a year. Okay, so it's particularly good for people who are newly self-employed and they don't know how much they're going to be earning. It could be that you've got somebody who is a low earner, but they want to insure themselves so that they've got enough money to pay for somebody to look after the children if they're off sick. So you could use benefit for that. Or it could be that you've got somebody on a 0 hours contract whose income fluctuates all the time, and you just don't know where you're going to be with it. So breathing space is brilliant for that. It's also good for people who aren't sure whether their income is going to continue or not. So I'm sure that many of you have asked your customers whether or not they know what sick pay arrangements they've got, and I'm sure a lot of have said, I'm sure I get something, but I don't know, or my boss has said we'll see. Well, that's not much good when you're trying to put an income protection plan together. So breathing space allows you to receive the benefit as well as any continuing income. So if you've got discretionary sick pay, then you can have that as well as your breathing space benefit. Okay, it is a little bit more expensive than the Protect plan, but that's because the risk is higher to British friendly. So don't be caught out. The rates are a bit more expensive. Okay, but once again, the guaranteed age banded premiums, designed for people with varying income, as I've said, can be self-employed, can be employed, can be gig workers. We don't mind. There's no restriction to the minimum number of hours, and they'll cover up to 15,000 a year. So that equates to £288 a week. It's on short term only, but will cover to age 70. And so you've got the short-term claim periods of 1, 2 or 5 years, and then those deferred periods once again. And remember, there's a 1 week, on the 1 week deferred, there is a COVID exclusion currently on that. Indexation and premium holiday options and waiver all work the same as the other policy as well. Okay, so before I move on to the next slide, has anybody got any questions on the products themselves? No? Okay, all right, good. So how much does it cost? To my mind, for a 35-year-old looking to cover £1,000 a month, you know, looking at these rates here, a 4-week deferred policy with a 2-year claim period, £13.70 will protect you and your family and give you £1,000 a month, which, you know, it's probably going to go a long way towards being able to pay the mortgage and some of the bills as well. And £13.70 a month, that is less than the cost of a bacon butty and a coffee at Greggs. So that's an example. Those are some examples of what our prices are like for a 35-year-old on the Protect plan. And then because it's age banded, it will go up. And by the time you get to 50, this is what the premiums, those equivalent premiums look like. So if we look at 4 weeks deferred and 2-year claim period, that £13.70 has gone up to £31. Now, that's fine, because what we're doing here is we're actually charging a premium for the real-time risk for that cover. And so many people are quite happy with pay-as-you-go philosophy nowadays. So many people are happy with age costed premiums. But if it does become a challenge and that £31 is too expensive for somebody when they get to 50, what we do offer is flexibility to be able to change the policy to suit your client's needs. And so that 4-week deferred period, let's face it, by the time you've got to 50, you'd like to think that you've got a bigger rainy day fund than you have when you're 35. So what you could do is you could change that deferred period from 4 weeks to 13 weeks, and that brings the premium down from £31 to £20.30. So you can see there that we do allow for flexibility within the pricing of the plan as the plan grows with the client. I did mention before that I would show you how the age costed premiums work, and what this slide shows you is a comparison between us for a 25-year-old on a short-term plan, 4 weeks deferred, providing £1,200 a month benefit. Our premium is £18 a month to start with. A competitor offering a guaranteed level premium starts at £27.98. Okay, so the red line represents the £27.98, and that shows you their premium all the way through. The blue line shows you our premiums. Now, what I do need to make sure that you're aware of is that our premiums only start to increase once you get on a 2-year plan, once you get to age 32. So from age 18 to age 32, it's a level premium. And then you can see there that the increases on that blue line are only very slight for the next 10 years. And so what that demonstrates on that chart for you there is that it takes 21 years for a 25-year-old to pay more with British Friendly than with an equivalent guaranteed level provider. Yes, the premiums do go steeper as you get older, but that's into his 60s, nearly 70. And that's when the risk of being ill is obviously considerably higher. What that shows you there is that it's 30 years cumulative before you pay more with British Friendly than you do with that competitor. Okay, so hopefully that helps to understand how age costed premiums work. So in terms of underwriting, important things to note: we're very good with BMI, so we will offer terms at standard rates for up to 35.9. We will only decline for BMI over 40, which is still quite generous levels. It does depend on your age. It's lower BMI levels for younger ages, and 35.9 is for your older ages between 50 and 60. We do offer a 10% discount if we put an exclusion on income protection. So quite often we'll get applications from people who have got a previous problem, and the way that we deal with that is, rather than decline the cover completely, we'll say, right, you can have cover for everything else, but we're not going to cover you back, or we're not going to cover mental health because it's a pre-existing condition. If we do that for back exclusions or mental health, we'll discount the premium by 10% because we don't feel that it's fair to charge full price if you've not got full cover for that. We do have a pre-sales inquiry line, and I would really encourage you to use that as much as you can, because if you do speak to somebody with a complex medical history, it's better to get a feel for what the likely outcomes are going to be to avoid any disappointment further down the line. So, if somebody does say that they've got a few things wrong with them, chat it through with the underwriters, or get in touch with me or Georgia, and we'll talk it through with the underwriters to give you some likely outcomes. If we do put an exclusion or a loading on a plan, they can, in most circumstances, be reviewed and potentially removed down the line. We like to see somebody completely clear for at least 2 years before we look to remove those restrictions on the policy. In the website, there is an occupation guide that shows you a full list of occupations that we accept and also the occupations that we don't accept. And you know, some of the very difficult ones for insurance companies to cover are included in there for us, like airline pilots and farm labourers. We're happy to cover them, and scaffolders and tree surgeons and that sort of thing. In terms of actual underwriting and application, if you're not confident in collecting the medical information on an online medical questionnaire, you can actually hand it over to us and we'll do it for you. So we use a company called Morgan Ash, and in the online medical journey, there is an option for you to select an appointment for your client to speak to a nurse on the telephone, and they can go through the medical questions with them if you would prefer that. There's no charge for that. We don't take any of your commission away, and we don't charge a fee for doing that. We are happy to do that. And I would say that we do offer flexibility by really treating every case on its own merits. So, you know, give us a chance if you've got something that's a bit left field. Always talk it through with us, and we'll do our best to get the right cover for you. In terms of adapting to a changing lifestyle, we offer guaranteed insurability options on all of our plans on various different events, and you can see there on the list the different events that we'll cover. This means that irrespective of whether you're accepted at standard terms or non-standard terms at the outset, you can increase your cover by up to 20% without further medical evidence on any one of those events that are listed there for you. In terms of claims process, with income protection, this is what you're doing. You are recommending the claim process because that's what people are buying effectively. Everything that we do is looked after in-house. We don't farm it off to any reinsurers. And what we ask for is the claim form to be completed together with the financial evidence. So if it's a protect plan, we need to see sufficient evidence to back up their taxable income. If it's breathing space, we just need proof that the member had an income, but it doesn't matter how much, and that can be in all sorts of formats, whether it's an invoice or whether it's a bank statement or pay slip or even a set of accounts. So but the key thing is that they've got to be working before they go off sick, and they were earning something rather than nothing. What we will do is we will support our members as best we can during the claim underwriting process. So we provide something called immediate support payment, which is unique to us, and that means that we'll pay the first £500 of a claim if we're waiting for evidence to come in from a GP. So if your customers sent all their paperwork into us and we've got all that and we're just waiting for the doctor to confirm that their medical condition is real, then we'll look to pay the first £500 of a claim to help them with the cash flow. And that criteria is that the policy needs to have been enforced for at least 3 months before they start claiming. Okay. So the moment of truth, it's all about the claim. And in 2020, we paid £5.6 million out in claims. 95% of our claims have been paid over the last 15 years. So that's a really good positive message to give you confidence and to give your customers confidence that we are as good as our word. What we've paid our claims out for in 2020, the majority of claims were for musculoskeletal problems. So that's back pain, shoulders, broken bones, that sort of stuff. Next comes in at COVID, anxiety and depression, and then respiratory and infectious diseases. What I think is obvious here is that because of our demographic being your more manual tradespeople, musculoskeletal are the biggest risk for them. Okay, so that's about claims. The other thing that is really important with British Friendly is the value added services. So this is what I mentioned right at the beginning. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up this slide. So in addition to providing that regular weekly or monthly benefit if they're off sick, what we also include in this policy is an amount of death benefit, an amount of bereavement benefit, terminal illness benefit, recovery support and care assistance. Okay, these are all included free of charge. Now, death benefit, the lump sum that we would pay to your client's family is equivalent to 26 weeks worth of benefit. So if you're insured for 20,000, we're going to pay out £10,000 if you die to your family. Now, what we ask is for your clients to complete a death benefit nomination form, which makes it nice and simple if it happens for us to send the money to the right place. Okay, it's just nice and tidy. Very similar to a trust form. It's not a trust form, it's just a nomination form, but that's there. The bereavement benefit is a payment designed to help the policyholder if they lose their partner, spouse, or a child under 18. So if one of those members of the family die, we'll pay a lump sum equivalent to 13 weeks benefit. So on that example of 20,000, we'd pay £5,000 to the policyholder to help them deal with that horrific situation that they found themselves in. Okay. Terminal illness means that on either of those two events, death of the policyholder or a bereavement benefit claim, if the person concerned is diagnosed as being terminally ill with less than a year to live, then we'll pay those benefits early. Recovery support benefit is for people who, for policyholders who have been claiming and they've been off sick for more than 6 months and then they go back to work. When they've been back at work a month, we'll pay them an extra month's benefit. So it's almost like a return to work bonus to help them just get on and carry on. And then the care assistance benefit is something that has been designed to help families where an individual outside who isn't insured on the policy, so it covers partners, spouses, kids and parents-in-law, and if that individual needs third-party care for more than 35 hours a week, we'll pay the policyholder £125 a week for a number of weeks to help them rally round. So if it's a parent or a parent-in-law, it's for 13 weeks. If it's a partner or a spouse or a child, it's 26 weeks. So it's just really there to help keep the family going during a difficult time. So those are what we call BF care, and they're all financial benefits that are all included free of charge on top of the income protection benefit. The next one up is the £100 cash prize every month. So this is what we call cash in your pocket. And every month, 5 British Friendly members are picked out of a hat and they win £100. It could be that they win it every single month if they were lucky enough. So that's a nice thing to have, and that's part of being a friendly society. And we do that every month. And then the line at the top is our Square Health medical services. So this is what we call Clinic in a Pocket. And it's a new app that has been created by Square Health, who provide our healthcare services. And everybody who has a British Friendly policy, whether it's an old policy or a new one, they can download this online app. And what it does is it gives them and their family access to various different medical services. So the first thing is we give them unlimited access to a virtual GP, and that's for the person insured, the spouse and any children. Okay, and they can use that worldwide. So even if you're on holiday and you want to speak to a doctor, you can use that. It's an app on your phone and you just access it that way. I used it last Saturday. I got an appointment within 3 minutes. I had my appointment. It took 9 minutes, and within an hour my prescription for antibiotics was at the chemist down the road. I went to the chemist and it cost me £5 for my prescription. So it's a big win for me, that. So virtual GP is included. We know that NHS waiting times are monstrous, and for me to get that in 3 minutes, it was brilliant. The most popular service that we have, though, is the physiotherapy, and that's probably down to the fact that 40% of our claims were for musculoskeletal. So our members can use physiotherapy benefit, and they can have 6 sessions, and they can share that with their spouse. Same with counselling, 6 sessions of counselling shareable with a spouse. The next thing on there is the health MOT. So health MOT is a blood test, and it's recommended that you have one done every year. It's a kit you do at home, send it off to the lab, and then you get a nice report telling you whether or not you've got anything that you need to get checked out by a doctor. So that's the health MOT. And then the last one on there is the second opinion service. Now, we offer all of our members the facility to get a second opinion referral, 2 of those every year, and all the family can use that, so partner, spouses or children. Okay, so those are our value added services, and really do add an awful lot of extra benefit to the plans. So just to summarise, we've got 70% of pre-tax income is our maximum benefit, paid to age 70. We've got the broadest range of short-term benefit periods, 1, 2 and 5 years, and long-term as well. The death benefit is automatically included on bereavement benefit and death benefit at no extra cost. You've got that 10% discount, and don't forget, with that even though you've got a 10% discount for back and mental health exclusions, it doesn't exclude you from accessing those mutual benefits facilities. So if you're talking to somebody who's got a back problem and they're a bit disgruntled because they can't get cover for the back, you can also say to them, look, you can get physio, so British Friendly will help you get back to work by helping you to get better quicker using that physio. Age of entry on our policies is up to 65. Now, you might find with a lot of other insurers that the maximum age is 59. So be aware of that as well. So we're good for those older lives. You've got the extensive mutual benefits and BF care programs that I've done to death, but I do think it's worth it. And then the guaranteed age banded premiums. There is an advisor toolkit, and within there are lots of sales aids and tools to help you to get the message right and to get the message across to your potential clients. And there are also some case studies in there that are worthwhile having a little watch. They're only a couple of minutes long, but they are real stories about how we've helped our members in the past, and just really emphasize the need for this type of cover and what a difference it can make to you. That's a photograph of me with long hair, my contact details, so if you want to write those down, if you do have any questions, you can either email me or you can take a note of my number and ring me whenever you need to. Do we have any questions?
Debbie?
Yes.
Apologies, I will show my face. I am just on my phone, so that's why I was trying not to put it on, because I haven't had a chance to get on my laptop tonight. So you did mention about, I know with HGV drivers, it's a bit of a high risk job as such, and you did say briefly something about HGV drivers. Now, I live near Felixstowe, and probably 60% of the people we know are either related one way or the other to the HGV industry. So can you just expand a bit on that? Why does British Friendly stand out? Because you did say something, I just didn't catch it, because my husband at that point wasn't at home, and my poor little boy was screaming his head off. So would you be able to expand on that HGV drivers cover?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
There is nothing really remarkable to say apart from the fact that we will cover them, whereas most other insurers won't.
Yeah.
So there's no restrictions. So if you do have a HGV driver, or if you've got 200 HGV drivers in Felixstowe, then send them our way, because we'll look after them.
Yeah, no, and that it still applies to them as well, that it's up to 7. I think the one other thing which caught my ears and my eyes is the up to 70% income protection cover. That's great. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for the question. Any other questions?
Hi, Debbie. Mark.
Hello, Mark.
I know you said there's no loading for smokers, which is like, I suppose, unbelievable in the insurance world. It was a little bit, I suppose, if you don't mind me saying, a little bit up in air to kind of what a smoker is and isn't. So how do you kind of judge to whether someone is a smoker or not then? Is there a maximum per day, or is it, how is it done, please?
How is it done? So, so where I said that unless there's a comorbidity risk, okay, so my understanding is that if you smoke more than 40 a day,
Wow.
then yeah, so that there may be issues there. Or if you're an asthmatic and you smoke.
Yes.
Okay, so we will collect the information about what your smoking habits are, but unless they are excessive or there's a comorbidity risk, we're not going to increase premiums.
Sounds to me like we cover smokers.
So yeah, I mean, you know, we smoking scaffolders are out, you know, my ideal man.
HGV drivers who smoke 39 a day, is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, all of those.
The presentation, by the way, was fantastic. Thank you so much for that information, and you really presented well.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
The policy from British Friendly, and I'm going to go into more detail, you know, after your presentation. But from my perspective, I've been doing advice for 18, 20 years now, and income protection can be underwritten really significantly, really tight with regards to getting policies on risk and getting good terms offered, and it can be expensive, you know, with your main, you know, top providers. With all due respect, I'm talking about the big guns who we know we've had on presentations. Again, with all due respect, we've got great products when it comes to critical illness and the life cover plans and the benefits, but income protection really is, I believe now, for the likes of British Friendly and people who, you know, offer a specialist policy. And the USPs you've just gone through there, I'm blown away. And what I'd like to do, because whenever somebody like yourself comes on, account manager Debbie, and asks questions, everyone shies away from asking a question, but they've probably got one they want to ask. So I'd rather come to each person quickly and just say, you know, what stood out for you from what Debbie's done. So can I just run through everyone? Is that okay with yourself, Debbie? Of
course, yeah, it's fine. I'm not going anywhere, and I will, if I've got 2 minutes, in a minute I'll share something else with you as well that hopefully will have an impact on the rest of you. Okay.
Well, thank you. Okay, great. So I'll start with Lizzie, if that's all right. Lizzie, what stood out for you?
I think it was like you say, the fact that there's no loading for smokers was quite interesting, and also covering all the high risk trades.
Absolutely. Thank you. Glenn, coming to you.
I've got one thing to say, which is up the scaffolders. Come on.
Hey.
And what stood out for me was, I like the fact from 18 to 32 years old, the premium stays the same.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. Obviously, age costed premiums, as Debbie explained, I'm a big believer that clients will, the circumstances will still significantly change over that long period of time. So you'll be reviewing covers as time goes on. So to take an age costed premium, it's so much more cost effective to do so. So when a client has concerns with regards to rising costs, they'll also start to have rise in income as well as the years goes on. Yeah. For me, it'll never be an issue that.
The thing is, I think that if you are doing the job properly, and you've got a duty of care to your customers to do regular reviews, and so if each year you do a review and the cover isn't relevant anymore, then you review it and you change it. So it is what it is.
Oh, it's brilliant. And as you mentioned, you can do reviews as well for existing policies, can't you, that are age costed, to put them onto, was it onto guarantee premiums? We're right in thinking.
No, well, We haven't got guaranteed premiums yet.
Yeah.
But the next time you speak to a British friendly person at one of these sessions, there might be something different to tell.
Okay, I like a rumour. That's
Okay.
good. Laura, can I come to you?
You can.
Hi, Laura.
I quite liked the fact that there was a 10% discount if there was something that was excluded from the cover. I think that kind of, from the customer's client's point of view, is justified that way.
Absolutely, totally agree. And again, that's a rarity. You don't tend to see that from providers with underwriters. They kind of offer what they offer, and the cost is either the cost or even increased. As me and Laura were speaking to this morning, our one-to-one. I mean, standard rates, non-standard rates, whatever it may be, the policies tend to become, more expensive when there's more complicated medical underwriting. So the fact that an exclusion might be applied, but they're going to financially benefit from that, makes total sense. So no, I think that's a great perk. We've got Rachel as well, I believe.
Hello.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Yeah, like Laura said, I like the 10% discount. I think all of that was amazing, really, but what stood out was the 10% discount and the clinic in the pockets.
Yeah.
Clinic in a pocket. It's a good name,
Clinic in a Pocket. Make sure everybody downloads Clinic in a Pocket because it's fab.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing, that fast service, and your prescription was only £5.
Yeah, I know.
And I know Agolta, you asked the question, but what stood out for you with regards to the actual policy itself and the presentation?
It's everything, in all honesty. I'm blown away. A couple of weeks ago, I told you how I want to bring everything over to AIG. Now I'm thinking maybe I don't want to bring it over to AIG anymore. So I think the biggest things are up to 70%, whereas most of the others do up to 60 or 65. The other important thing, because believe it or not, there are still a lot of smokers about. And I think sometimes smokers, as opposed to drinkers, are marginalized in regards to what cover they can get. I'm not trying to imply it should be sort of applauded if someone smokes, but the fact that they don't get extra charges if they don't go overboard with it, I think it's great, as well as the breathing space. I think that is something which is definitely a unique selling point. What stood out for me, Debbie, what you said, even if you earn £100, you are still eligible to get £15,000 cover for the year. So I think the whole proposition is just amazing. I'm blown away. I'm easily pleased. So yeah, definitely I'm blown away by British friendly.
Good.
Just jumping on that point as well, Agolta and Debbie, the breathing space. What you tend to find with self-employed people is that they earn an income, but when it comes to paying tax, they don't like paying tax, if we're all honest. So the books don't reflect kind of what they earn. I can see Agolta laughing in the background. We know it's true. So breathing space, you can get £1,250 a month benefit without essentially, stacking up on, where your income's at. For me, that's absolute gold. And that's an objection we get within the industry from self-employed people is, yeah, but, when it comes to claim, how do I evidence my income? So breathing space is definitely one for the self-employed, I'm sure.
Yeah, it takes away the stress of worrying whether at the time of a claim, am I going to have enough evidence to back it up? And if an insurance company declines a claim for a customer, who's the first person they're going to come to? It's going to be you. Yeah. And you're going to have to go, well, you told me, etc., etc. I've seen it so many times. I've been helping advisors for 30 years now to write income protection. Yeah. And, the message is still the same. It's still the same. It's no different. There's still a need, and people don't know about it. The general public don't even realize that they can insure themselves. You know, more people have got their dogs insured than they have their incomes insured. And that's just because more people talk about that sort of stuff. So it's our job to make sure that people know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned before, didn't you, 94% of the working population don't have income
Don't
protection.
have it.
That's absolutely massive. Something that everybody asks me in the advisor one-to-ones is, where can I get more clients from? I mean, come on. Everything you've just heard within the last 45 minutes, an hour, if you can relay that to people and have that passion that Debbie's just mentioned there, that there's real need for this. And not only is there a need for it, you've got something that meets that need, but it's also a quality product that doesn't just give them a monthly benefit. It gives them, you know, the clinic in the pocket, you know, the cash in the pocket, the other perks you get with it as well, the physio we talked about. I mean, relay that to your clients, to your audience, and to your market. We've got a session tomorrow morning on social media marketing. You know, we'll go into more detail with regards to kind of what you need to do there, but, you know, give people value. You're learning these kind of things this evening for a reason. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk about it if you believe in it. You know, and I'm sure you do. So I'm interested to hear your story, Debbie. Have you got a story?
Right. Okay. So why is it important to talk about protection, and what does it really mean to people? Okay, so insurance is boring for a lot of people. People who aren't in the industry think insurance is boring, and it's something that you pay a premium for that never pays out. Okay, so I just want to share with you what happened to me last year. So last January, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was under the NHS hospital here in Cheshire, and they told me that I had something called ductal carcinoma in situ. Now, if you're up to speed on your critical illness and your serious illness covers, you'll know that that's an early stage of breast cancer. Yes. Now, I was told by the NHS doctor that in January, because we got COVID, and that because I didn't have real cancer, I could wait until COVID had settled down before I had any surgery.
Wow.
So me being me, I had a real collection of insurance policies that I'd collected over the years. Okay. And so first thing I did was I used my second medical opinion. You know, the second medical opinion that I mentioned before that you get within your British Friendly policy.
Yes.
Use that. And I said to the NHS doctor, I said, right, okay, well, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to go and ask somebody else what they think. Because if I've got any form of cancer inside me, I don't want it in me. And so I went to the Alexandra Hospital at Cheadle. I saw another surgeon 2 days later, and she said, let's get it out. And when they did get it out, yes, I'd got DCIS, but I'd also got a stage 2 invasive tumour.
Wow.
So thank goodness for that. It took them 2 attempts to get it out, but the NHS doctor would have left me for at least 6 months, and it would have been a different outcome. So the other thing as well is that with my critical illness policy, it didn't cover DCIS because it was an old critical illness policy.
Of course, yeah, it's early stage. Yeah.
Yeah. So initially, my diagnosis meant I wasn't going to get my money. But then obviously when they dug out this stage 2 invasive tumour, I then got my critical illness cover. And it was £30,000. Now, that's not a lot of cover, but it made a hell of a difference to me and my family, because it meant that I had some money. So actually I went and bought myself a nice car. I paid off the rest of the mortgage and I bought myself a nice car with it. But £30,000 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And, you know, sometimes when we look at the numbers, you know, you were saying before, don't compromise on your cover, reduce your sum assured. Yeah. I really do advocate that. So my critical illness paid out, my private medical insurance paid for my treatment, and my income protection cover paid so that I could have 7 months off work. And the really key thing with this is, and I want to leave you with this, is that me having all those insurances meant that I didn't have to worry about anything apart from getting better.
Of course. Absolutely.
And that is what it's all about.
Well, first and foremost, Debbie, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Such a powerful story, and obviously very personal to yourself as well. So again, thank you. Obviously wish you full good health moving forward.
Thank you.
As you mentioned with regards to the protection side of things, it's absolute gold. And you know what all the advisors on the call tonight will learn is that by arranging policies and doing the right job, ensuring the covers have that, the clients have that cover in place, when it happens, and people claim when it happens to one of your clients and they ring you and they make you that phone call, they ask you the question, have I got any cover? Can you help me? Have I got any benefits or any services? And of course, like yourself, Debbie, you know, they can take advantage of that. And as you mentioned, financially, to not have that financial stress at a time, which is already, I'm sure, highly stressful from a mental perspective, regards to your health and etc., then of course it's definitely going to make things as much better than they can be. Of course, you can concentrate on getting your health better.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. That was an amazing story to hear.
You're welcome.
So I'm sure on behalf of everyone on the call, I'm sure everyone appreciates that.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. If it helps somebody, then it's worth it.
Wow.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. So
right.
The British Friendly, for me, we've talked about it. It's a class product. A Galt has jumped on and said, you know, she were all over AIG a few weeks back, and now British Friendly's come to the forefront. I think what everyone's learning, especially the advisors that are coming from an inexperienced background, is, you know, it's not just about a monthly benefit, is it? It's not just about a lump sum benefit with life cover, critical illness cover. It's about the added features. It's about the quality of the proposition now that the likes of British Friendly are offering. As you just mentioned there, Debbie, you know, you took full advantage of that.
Yeah.
It enabled you to, you know what I mean?
Well, you know, right. So I've got, right, I'm on my soapbox now, right? So I get a lot of advisors going, oh, well, it's easier to do a menu plan and I just do my life kick and IP all together. Drives me mad.
Well, do you know what? I'm so happy you've just said that. Are you going to stay on the call now for the next 5-10 minutes?
If you want me to, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, because I'm just gonna finish off by means of basically showing everyone exactly that. Don't rely upon a multi-benefit plan, because what we've talked about, we've had Vitality on, we've had Zurich on, we've had AIG on, we've got Aviva to come, the big guns that are known as, and the multi-policies, the way they work now, we've evidenced that through our platforms. We've got Solution Builder, our pipeline to build the recommendations. And I'm a big believer that we should build multi-policies by means of protect the mortgage debt. You know, but you can't eat bricks, I always say. You need something over and above. So you need family protection, personal protection, get the kids in there, get them covered. Absolutely, yes. But I'm going to jump past that slide. I'm going to come straight down to this. My point of putting this on today was to say income protection within Solution Builder needs to be done solely on its own. Because when you're building a multi-policy, let's use AIG as an example, because I know Algota, you mentioned them before. They're not being biased with them. There's many good insurers out there. But when we're looking at the critical illness proposition and we enhance their plans, get the children's enhancements as well, it's an amazing proposition. But when it comes to income protection with AIG, it just does what it says on the tin. Firstly, it's expensive. And secondly, it gives you a monthly benefit. Now, you just heard everything you've just said, Debbie, all the perks, all the big things that stood out for me, you know, premium holiday, that's massive. People don't want to lose the cover that's been underwritten, but for unforeseen circumstances, sometimes people have to make that call and say, I'm gonna have to cancel it. I mean, I'm out of work for the next 3 months and I'm going to struggle for the next 3 months. And you mentioned other things like, you know, 70% of benefit, not 60. You know, the likes of Zurich, AIG, Vitality, they'll definitely cap out at 60% of the income. They won't go up to the 70 levels. Age costed premiums just isn't a problem for me. And with the AIGs of the world, the waiver of premium, you'll be paying money for that month in, month out, and that adds up over the term of the policy. So with British Friendly, as you can see, and the specialist income protection providers, they offer you so many different USPs that by taking the income protection away from your initial advice of the mortgage protection, the family protection, and setting it up with a specialist income protection provider like British Friendly, that is the answer. And we come back to cost as well. They'll be so much cheaper. I'm sure you'll agree with me, Debbie.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well is, I think that so many, and I'm a bit long in the tooth now, but I do get frustrated by some things that I hear. People will say to me, "Oh, I'm not going to put the income protection cover in force until the mortgage completes." Well, to my mind, your income protection should be the first thing. So even if you're renting, if you're looking to buy a house, you should do your income protection as soon as you realise that your income is at risk. So today is the right day for buying income protection. And anybody buying a house, it's notoriously the most stressful experience of your life, and potentially the most physically demanding. So how many people do you hear lifting wardrobes and they've pulled the back out? Get your income protection in place before you do it.
It's a great point. It is. It is a great point. You're off work for 3 months with stress because you just couldn't handle the whole pressure of moving. Moving house is an absolute nightmare. I totally agree with you. Our model within the business when we're arranging mortgages is to protect the mortgage debt, protect over and above, talk about income protection. And we do wait till exchange of contracts for the life and the critical illness cover. But as you mentioned, though, with income protection, get it on. I mean, you need to make sure your income's going to be there now to make sure whether you're still saving for deposit and solicitors and all that kind of thing. And if it stops, it could hamper the ability to, get your dream home that you've now, put all your heart and soul into, and you're looking forward to getting as well. So yeah, totally agree. I just wanted to just jump back. Income protection, keep it really simple. It's the protection for injury, illnesses, accidents, sickness, disability, but don't forget, it's also there for critical illnesses as well. So when you're arranging critical illness cover for your clients, as an alternative, you can do income protection. They don't have to get that large lump sum amount, or maybe they could take a smaller lump sum amount with an income protection policy to kind of work hand in hand. Because when the severity is not there, again, you mentioned that, Debbie, if it's not there and you're kind of waiting to get more ill, how crazy is that to be able to get a cash payout?
Well, those claim stats that I showed you before, none of those illnesses that we've paid our claims for would have qualified for a critical illness claim.
Well, yeah.
So the number of claims that we pay out for cancer and heart attack are really low.
If you was to prioritise in an order of what's most important, I know you touched on this earlier, income protection, life insurance, critical illness cover, what order would you put them in?
Me?
Yeah.
IP, then kick, then life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree now as well. And the industry, the market there for income protection, the people talking about income protection at the moment as a protection advisor within Primus, let's say, the market's huge, but people talking about it is just tiny. People start it the other way around. It's all about life insurance, critical illness cover, and if you can get some income protection in, they'll add that in at the end. I think that's crazy. Do
you guys subscribe to Protection Guru?
We have done in the past, but we're not at the moment.
Right. I don't think you have to pay for it. I think it's free, isn't it?
Is it? Okay.
It's free for financial advisors. Yeah.
Great.
So just make sure you keep on top of that, because they've been really good at doing lots of comparisons. So it's a free service. So
yeah.
And Cover Magazine.
And using stats with a client, it's just an eye opener, isn't it? To kind of, the ability when people are very ignorant to it and it won't happen to me, you're going to get that. But, you need to be able to overcome objections. And again, that's some training we're going to offer over the next few weeks. Open questions, overcoming objections. It's all really important to do with your customers, because some people will sit and hide behind you talking. And one of our habits within the company is, listen more than you speak. And that's so important with regards to advice, is that it's great that you know all your stuff, but hear what your clients have got to say first, and then meet the circumstances or overcome that objection, because you are the expert, you're the specialist, and you're the one that needs to make sure they've got that protection in place. So again, when they make that phone call and they say, did we take the cover? You've got the ability to say, yeah, we did. And don't worry, you're going to be all right. And for me, absolute gold dust. And to have that fire in your belly and that passion regards to that situation, have a real understanding, it'll be when your first claim happens and you've done a good job. or if you've not going to do good job, then it's not probably a good way of moving forward on it. So start as you mean to go on, whoever's on the call, and make sure you're talking about this area as much as any other, if not more. Obviously, you can tailor your cover to suit. It says in bottom left-hand corner. You can see that with the 3 products that we've got with British Friendly. The breathing space one is tailored towards certain people. Again, tomorrow morning on the social media, I'm all about personal branding yourself and putting yourself in a position where you can, people can kind of know who you are and who you're the go-to for. So if it is self-employment you're targeting, breathing space could be brilliant for that. But, if they've got accounts, if they've got books, it could be short-term plans, 1, 2, 5 years. It could be full-term benefits. But do you agree with this one, Debbie? Always start with a full-term benefit. It's what they need.
Start at the top and work your way down. Yeah.
Glenn, weren't it? He said that before.
Yeah.
Ski
down now.
Absolutely. And then constant cover, income protection covers you for accidents and injuries on and off the job. That's really important. Some people don't realize that. I mean, people think if I get injured at work, I'll get sick pay, or if I get injured within my job. But you could be driving home from work, you could be enjoying yourself at the weekends with the kids, you could be moving house, that wardrobe you talked about, Debbie. Whatever it may be, it's going to affect you, and it's going to affect you whether short term, long term. And it's surprising how quick your finances catch up with you, and you think, I should have took that. So again, get speaking to your clients and make sure that's the case. And then the last one on here, I just wanted to just take a couple more minutes now and just touch on these points, because with income protection, there's different wording that everyone uses within the industry that will some of you on the call, especially inexperienced, will look and go, well, what do you mean by that? So like short and full term. These benefits, you can take a policy that pays out for 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, or a full-term policy up until retirement. And you can tailor that retirement. I think you said 70 with British Friendly, Debbie. So, people need full-term plans. If they're going to be off work, then they want to make sure they can have the benefit until they return to work.
Yeah.
So
and
just so
that you know, this is a bit of a quirk of our rates. Our full-term rates are actually cheaper than our 5-year rates.
It wouldn't surprise me. The comparable, I'm sure, from a 2-year to a full term, I bet it's not much different, would I be right in thinking?
No.
So don't always jump in on a 1 or a 2 year thinking I need to keep the premium down for the client. Again, like Glenn said, ski downhill, start at the top, but have a 1 and a 2 year in your pocket, because if they say it's too expensive, I just can't meet that expectation, overcome the objection. But if it's still not right, it doesn't meet the budget and the affordability, which of course is really important, then you've got the other one in your pocket to work with. We've talked about it all night. Why income protection? Accidents, sickness, disability, critical illnesses, many reasons why. But if you're not working, you're not earning. And people that are within an employed position, I'll come on to the top right, employer benefits. People say, oh, don't worry, I've got sick pay through my employer. I will guarantee any client you speak to over the next 10 years will not have more than 12 months full sick pay. 12 months, what's that going to do for you? It's going to do nothing. It's great you've got it. Agree with the client. Well, that's fantastic. How long could you cope beyond that then, Mr. Client? Is it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What if you couldn't go back to work now until you retire? Is that going to be a problem? So it's not just for self-employed people, income protection. Again, it says who's it for? It's for people that are working. And again, Debbie said it's for people that are working, very limited hours, small income. The breathing space will work well for that. But again, if you've got people on, 65 grand salaries, you can be covering up to 70% of their income. So, they're established people. They could be professionals, doctors, solicitors, whoever it may be. Everybody's got a need, whether it's, deferments from day one, from 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months, year, whatever it may be, everyone's got a need. So for me, I agree, this is the best policy on the market for any client, because everybody has a need for it who works. By means of benefit, I put benefit as in benefits. All these policies come with all these benefits we talked about tonight. At the bottom, you'll see deferment period. What we mean by deferment period is, how long have you got to wait around till you can claim? And Debbie made a great point earlier that with the weekly benefit compared to the monthly benefit, if you do a 4-week deferment period, your initial benefit could have started at 5 weeks. You'll get another one at 6, 7, 8, and then ongoing for the term of your policy payout. So deferment period is reflecting on how long that waiting period is. And you'll hear this from clients a lot. They'll turn around to you and say, yeah, but they don't pay out these policies. Oh, I've got to wait around the ages before they do. And I couldn't get by. Well, that's just an old school rule. I mean, we tailor it to their circumstances. What do they need? And if they say they've got savings to keep them on for the next 6, 12 months, say to them, don't use your savings for your income. You've worked all your life for that. That's your security for, taking your kids to Disneyland or whatever it may be, or your retirement, whatever it is. Your savings aren't to pay for your mortgage or your bills, and they'll soon run out as well. Risk, we talked about occupations, that comes in the occupations as well. Roofers, up the roof, as Glenn said, HGV drivers that go to
scaffolders, I think it was.
Oh, scaffolders, I do apologise, it was.
We're all right with roofers as well.
And waiver, the bottom left-hand corner, waiver of premium is an insurance within an insurance in my eyes. It's ensuring that if you're off work, not are you using your monthly benefit to pay for the plan? Well, again, with British Friendly, you get it for free. So if you're off work, you're not going to have to pay for the policy. They'll pay for it for you. It's unbelievable. And again, bottom right, last one, percentage sign. We talked about the percentage of your income you can take. What's the reason you can't take 100% of your income? Does anyone on the call know that? I'll pick on someone if no one jumps out. Rachel, I can see you reaching for the unmute button.
Because obviously you can't stay off work forever, is it? I don't know how to word it.
What are you saying, Debbie?
Right, okay, well, there's few reasons. So number one, it's paid tax-free. So your actual amount of money that you receive is going to be similar to what you would receive in your hand. Okay, so that's one point. So always remember that, because if they go, ooh, I won't be able to cope on 70%, remember it's tax-free. But there's the phrase that you're looking for, Rachel, is that there's got to be an incentive to return to work.
That's it.
So yeah, I mean, there has got to be some incentive for them to get back to work so that they are back earning the money. Now, quite often people will say to me, oh, well, that breathing space, there isn't the same incentive. Well, no, there isn't. And that's kind of part of why we charge more for it, because the risk is higher to us, because there's less incentive to actually go back to work. The one that you haven't mentioned, Mark, is the SSP.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Does anybody know how much SSP is?
We'll let someone else answer this. Who shall we pick on, Debbie? Let's have a look.
Who's Googling it?
I can hear that. That's good, isn't it?
96.35.
97 something.
96.35 a week.
Yeah, great answer. 90 to 100 quid, let's say, just as a round figure. But yeah, you ain't going to survive on that, are you? It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Just make sure you know that number, because overcoming an objection with a customer is, oh, do I really need income protection? Well, if you haven't got a really generous employer and a big pot of money in the bank, then that's all you're going to get.
It's such an easy objection answer, isn't it? Who's going to survive on £96 a week? They're just not. So, you can beg, steal or borrow in this world, but a lot of people with me say, well, I've got to my mum and dad. I said, well, do me a favour, before our next meeting, can you just ring your mum and dad and say, will you pay me mortgage? I'm off work for the next 5 years, and watch them laugh down the phone to you. So we'll have that chat again in the future. But yeah, statutory sick pay, good spot there, Debbie. Thank you for that.
All right. I forgot to mention it in my bit.
It's a great point, isn't it? It's so important. It's so important to get it right. And I mean, people aren't just going to cope without their income. It's as simple as that. I knew tonight's session would be class. I knew it would. Hopefully everyone on the call now is just thinking income protection. Of course, for Debbie's benefit, I'm sure you're all thinking orange. You're going to sleep tonight, so you'll be waking up screaming British Friendly in your dreams. So it's that good. We've got a couple of events coming. We've got Cade next week, who's doing a mortgage Sharpen Your Saw event, which is all going to be about, how we arranged mortgages, source mortgages, the ins and outs of mortgages. It's important to know that from a protection point of view, because of course you need to protect against the mortgage debts as well and the mortgage payments for income protection, for example. And then we've got Kaylee coming on talking about wills and trusts and how you can implement that into, you know, generating protection referrals. So 2 good sessions. We've also got a couple more coming as well. I know one of them is Aviva. But, you know, once again, Debbie, thank you so much for your time this evening.
My pleasure.
I'm going to leave you tonight, everyone, with a joke. Sorry, I shouldn't tell you that. I just spoilt it. But my pet mouse, Elvis, died last night. He was caught in a trap.
Well, that's not a joke.
Awful. No, I'm so sorry. But it's one to take, go and tell your kids, your husband or your missus tonight. Hope you like that one. But no, I really value your time, Debbie. Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you. And,
my pleasure. I'm going to send you a little survey. Would you mind asking everybody to complete it for me?
Of course we will. We'll all make sure we do it. I promise that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, lovely to meet you all.
Stay on the chat as well. I'll get them answered for
Thank
you.
you.
But of course,
All right.
everyone have a great evening. Sorry, it's slightly run over.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.